Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Today's tutorial is passport makeup. I recently just renewed my passport. I hadn't had a passport photo for 10 years, and so I just renewed it for another 10 years, and I felt like it was a perfect time to film something like this because I had a lot of questions. I posted a photo on Instagram saying that I got my passport done, and a lot of you wanted to see the makeup, which is very much still me, which it should be. This makeup is still so subtle and natural, but it's just more elevated. It has a little bit more structure, and I feel really good in it. I mean, I have to feel good in this photo for the next 10 years, but it still very much has to look like you. So if you want to see this makeup tutorial and some tips and tricks along the way, then just keep on watching. The whole purpose of passport photo is to almost create a flawless filter-like finish, because naturally you're not going to have any kind of filter on your face, so you want to feel like really perfected but still very much you. Obviously you want to really enhance your features, not hide them, because I mean, if you're like me, you're going to have this passport for 10 years. You just want it to be the best version of yourself. I'm starting off with the Skin Nova, I think it's Skin Nova from Vieve Cosmetics. It's like a primer, like a hydrating primer, just to get my skin looking juicy, bouncy, and prepped for the foundation. The foundation I used on my skin for my photo was the Huda Beauty Easy Blur. I have it in the shade 320G Tres Leche, and I love it. It's a little tan for me at the moment, but nothing I can't blend out. So I'm not putting too much because, you know, I don't like to fully cover my skin, but I do want a really nice flawless base. This will help me achieve that. I'm also using a beauty sponge, quite damp, so that it's taking up any extra product because I don't want it to feel cakey. I really want my skin to look and appear like skin. And my personal preference is a beauty sponge. I just feel like you're gonna get a really natural finish with it. I'm also not going really high up under my eyes because the older you get, fine lines are inevitable. So less is more when it comes to products. And because we're gonna be using concealer anyways, I don't want double product going up right under my eyes. So any foundation plus concealer is just a recipe for more fine lines. So reducing that by not putting as many products there. Getting right into that hairline. See that nice natural finish glow? Exactly what I'm going after. Now I wanted really defined skin, so I took Real Depth Multipurpose stick and put it in areas I wanted to enhance, so naturally my cheekbones, so carving those out. I wanted a nice sculpted nose, so popping it here, and then of course my forehead. Now this shade, because there's no orange in it, gives the perfect amount of definition while not looking gray or orange on the skin, so it's perfect to add before any bronzer. Because we already have the sponge here, I'm just going to use the same one because there's obviously a little bit of the base product still on it. So it's just going to blend it out even more seamlessly. You can see the really subtle definition that has given my cheeks, around my temples, my forehead, my nose. Exactly what we want. It's not overwhelming. It's still very much me, but I'm enhancing, or there's a little hair on my lip, I can feel it. Decreasing areas that I want to add a little bit of, you know, structure to. I would never step foot into a photo booth without some bronzer, so I'm going to take a little bit of the medium bronzer. This is going to have some warmth, and I'm just plopping it on top of my cheeks just to add a little bit more color and life into it, because we have definition, but we need warmth. We need something that just looks a little bit more soft and subtle on the cheeks. Color tone changes courtesy of a beautiful sunny cloudy day, but I mean, it shows you exactly what this makeup looks like in natural sunny lighting and natural cloudy cool tone lighting. So I mean, it slaps in both, and then it performs well in a photo, especially if you're taking this photo in a photo booth or at home. Obviously you can take your passport photo or visa photo, whatever you're needing this for, at home nowadays, but I did go to a little photo booth that was at a local shop nearby, and it performed perfectly. Concealer, just like the Easy Blur foundation, this one from Huda Beauty is the Faux Filter Concealer. Love it. I've actually really loved it for under my eyes. I feel like it just glides on, and I mean, that's how much concealer we're working with. We don't want anything more than that. And then I'm just gonna go around and spot conceal any areas that I feel like need a touch more coverage, maybe a little bit under my cheekbones so that that can look a little bit more snatched, and maybe a touch down the bridge of my nose. I had a little breakout on my forehead randomly because I don't know what are forehead breakouts, but I had them. So just something very subtle. And again, you guessed it, I'm not gonna use the side I use the bronzer. I'm gonna flip it and we're just going to blend that all out. When it comes to undetectable you but enhanced version of you makeup, it's small and subtle moments with makeup. It's not slapping it on, so it actually feels maybe a little bit more intentional than glam makeup, because you don't want to cover everything and just load it up with color and coverage. You actually want to still have the same appearance of, you know, natural looking skin, but with makeup it actually takes and requires a little bit more time, more precision, more blending. With this under eye concealer, I'm working it into the darkest areas, which is just that line, going right up into the inner corner of my eye. And then with whatever is left, then I will pat it up under my eye. But you don't want to go straight under your eye with concealer, especially if you do have fine lines, because I mean, unless you're 18, you're gonna have fine lines under your eyes. So that's my best way to get the coverage and brightness that I want, but to reduce the amount of creasing. Also, you will need powder just to give reassurance. Now, using a loose powder, this is gonna really help create that flawless filter effect, because it's gonna smooth your pores, your fine lines. I like to use a little powder puff, get a decent amount, take it off on the back of my hand, and then press it in those areas. And honestly, it is genuinely the most beautiful finish that you can have on your face. I mean, I wouldn't do this for every day because it's a little bit more time consuming and an added step that I just don't think I need on it every day. But for anything with photos, events, or I just want to feel a little bit more glam, this step is a non-negotiable. Before you press any powder under your eye, make sure to tap out any creases that have already started, and then go in with your powder puff in the opposite direction to fill in the crease. So you're not setting the crease, you're filling it in, if that makes sense. You'll be left with a really nice, soft, flawless looking under eye. I feel like you guys are potentially seeing what I'm trying to tell you about, really giving definition to your face but still feeling and remaining like yourself. Now that we've done all that powder, I do feel like we've lost a little bit of the warmth, so I'm going to take some of this powder from MAC, which is Give Me Sun. Cult classic, you can't be without it. And I'm just really coating it on my large brush from Pearl Beauty, tapping it off, and then lightly dusting over the areas that we did put the cream bronzer to kind of revive it, bring it back, but also give a security layer with the powder on top of the cream. Now I'm going to take the smaller side, also coat it with the bronzer. I did not wear eyeshadow for the photo, but I did take my bronzer and just give myself a little bit of a crease shadow. So with whatever bronzer you use, just put it on your crease and it will just help give definition and structure to your eyes. Brows are up to you in how you like them, but I wouldn't really change the shape nor add a lot of color and volume. I just want to fill in any sparse areas, which is mostly from like the arch to the tail for me specifically, but I don't want to do anything harsh here because I feel like it just always shows up a little bit more on a picture, so it just feels unnatural, especially in a passport photo. I feel like your brows like definitely are contrasted for some reason, so I'm keeping it super light and natural. Now I did take one of my favorite eyeliners, which is Whisky from Urban Decay, and I just kind of wiggled it in the outer lash line just to create a little bit of a cat eye effect, how I like my eyes in photos. But if this is not for you, just skip this step and go right to mascara. Don't forget to curl your lashes. A good couple of coats. I mean, lashes show up in photos and I feel like it's something that really makes a difference. Don't mind my messy application. Honestly, I'm so messy when it comes to mascara. Just let it dry and then we can take a little Q-tip or spoolie and flick it away. So just leave it, let it dry, we'll move back to face. Now when it comes to blush, obviously I'm biased and I like a little bit more of a heavier blush, but I did it in layers. So I took the Core Essentials palette and literally just did this, nothing fancy or specific, and started on the apples of my cheek, bringing it upwards. We're already getting the color that I want, but I'm starting in small sections and a small amount because I want to build it up. I wanted a touch more pink, so I took Girl Next Door, a little bit on the back of my hand here. I'll use a sponge because it's handy, and I just tapped it on top of where I put the blush just to give a little bit more of a sheen and a really soft cool tone pink just popping through. Scraping away any misplaced mascara. So now that it's dried, it literally just comes off so easily. For lips, this is where I was very specific with what I wanted. So I took Kiss Kiss first, which is maybe 2 tones darker than my own lips, and I fully lined every part of my lip just to really get that depth. Then I went in with Whisper, which is a little bit more of a neutral tone nude, to kind of carve out the sides, add a little bit fullness where I want, want, which is more in the middle section of my lips. And then to finish, I took this lip gloss from Huda Beauty, the Faux Filler in She Fire. And it has a slight reflex in it, but it's a little bit more of a brown tone. And honestly, I feel like it just finishes off the look perfectly. Okay, I just took a little bite of granola there, so excuse me if there's anything in my teeth. This is the final look. It is very much a me makeup, everyday makeup, which it should be for your passport photo or any kind of document photo, because it needs to look like you for a long period of time. This is it. It's perfected, it's sculpted, it's elevated, but it's still very natural and just slightly enhanced. Let me know if this was helpful in the comments down below and what other tutorials you want to see, and I will see you in my next video. Bye.